The next word on our list is retention. And retention has something to do with open rate, but it's simple. How long does the customer stick with you? Right? How likely is it someone wants to keep hearing from you? As people stick around longer, loyalty goes up, because loyalty is a measure of how long people stick around. And what we've learned is that the value of a brand is directly related to loyalty. Now, there's a challenge here. And the challenge is that loyalty means you have to be loyal to them as well. It means you can't sell junk this time just because people will put up with it. And we saw what happened with Cadillac. Cadillac was Mercedes and Lexus and Infiniti all rolled into one in 1970. They were it. And then to make profits go up, they said, wait a minute, all our customers are really loyal. Let's make junkier Cadillacs. So they kept lowering the quality of the Cadillac. And for a long time, the customers wouldn't leave because the Cadillac labeled them. They needed to be in a Cadillac when they went to the country club. They needed to identify themselves to others. People like us drive a car like this. But bit by bit by bit, Mercedes milked the loyalty to the point where they had no permission anymore. All their buyers said, go away. And they got into a Mercedes and they got into a Lexus. And Cadillac walked away from billions and billions of dollars because they weren't clear about what it meant to play with loyalty. Okay, one more Super Bowl story. I'm sorry, but there were so many good marketing things going on in my life watching the hoopla around the Super Bowl. I will confess, I did not see one play. 3 years ago, someone at the Huffington Post noticed that one of the leading searches of the day was, what time does the Super Bowl start? And so, of course, he wrote an article on the Huffington Post called, what time does the Super Bowl start? And lots and lots and lots of people visited it, and he became a small legend. All the other people in media made fun of the Huffington Post as this was just craven SEO. This was gaming the search engines to get a little bit of traffic. Interesting to note that the next year, the LA Times and other newspapers did exactly the same thing. They also wrote articles called, what time does the Super Bowl start? Well, if you typed it in this year, 2014, what you will notice is that Google cut them all down and by themselves just wrote at the top their answer to the question, keeping all the traffic for themselves. The parable is important because SEO, the idea of somehow playing with your website to show up higher in the search engines, can work beautifully when it works, but it's a truly dangerous game. The reason it's a dangerous game is it distracts you from why you were there in the first place. The reason you are there is to tell a story that changes people, to tell a story that is true, to tell a story that will be shared. The Huffington Post didn't get started so that they could write articles about what time the Super Bowl starts. It went against who they were and what they stood for. Certainly the LA Times has no business writing articles like this. The point I'm making is when you let someone else dictate the agenda of how you talk, you aren't going to speak in the way that you would like to speak, one human to another. Which leads us to the last thing in this section. There's a million tactics I am not sharing with you. If this was a tactical course, we could go on for infinity because marketing has an infinite number of tactics available. What you must do is build a schedule. You cannot succeed with your idea, with your story in a week. It will not work. Every once in a while, a Justin Bieber shows up and goes viral and it's crazy and ha ha ha, but generally not really. And so we need a schedule. We need to see week after week, month after month for more than a year. What's your journey? This is a marathon, not a sprint. That every great brand is a consistent edifice. It stands for something. It doesn't give up. It doesn't chase this trend and then run over and chase that trend. It shows up, it shows up, it shows up. If I asked you who Dr. Seuss is, you know who Dr. Seuss is. If I ask you who Ray Bradbury is, you know who Ray Bradbury was. Because they showed up. They stood for something. They didn't get distracted by shiny objects. They had a schedule. And what is magical today compared to a few years ago is media is free now. You do not need to run a TV commercial every night for us to know you exist. But you do need to show up somewhere. And you need to show up somewhere in a way that makes me want you to show up again. Write down your schedule. Get buy-in for your schedule. I hope I'm not too much of a broken record, but I can hear the echo coming back. The things I'm asking you to do are not glamorous. They are scary, but not risky. They are scary and they are difficult. They involve going back to your people and saying, are we serious about marketing? Are we prepared to be professionals at this? And most of all, do we want to matter? Because it is easy to copy other people. It is easy to make a commodity. It is easy to answer an RFP. It is difficult to say, I made this, to stand for something, to do it this way and not that way. It is difficult to say, this is for you, it is not for you, and you are not weird enough. We are here for you. Let's do this together. Please help us spread the word. That's difficult. That's worth doing. Thanks.